I want to talk some baseball with you. Of course, starting with your New York Yankees. It's starting to seem a little bit like the same situation we saw last year where like everything is running through Aaron Judge. We also saw how it ended up last year. So in your opinion, do you think that they're in the running for World Series title run? Do you feel like they got all the right pieces?
I do. Look, in New York is about two people. It's Garrett Cole and the great Aaron Judge.
Yep.
And Aaron Judge is, I always call him like Derek Jeter 2.0.
Yep.
All the things that were great about the great Derek Jeter, Aaron Judge has, except he has more power than anybody in the world, right? And he's a good hitter with big power. He's the epitome of Madison Avenue, and he represents the New York Yankees. So I was told my buddy that if George Steinbrenner was alive, I mean, he would be in love with Aaron Judge, as is Hal Steinbrenner, of course, and all Yankee Nation. But I think it's going to come down to Brian Cashman. The bottom line is you've got to make a move in the trading deadline that's going to complement and enhance this roster. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, what happened in the late 90s, the great Gene Michaels, Stick Michaels would make great moves at the deadline, would help them win championships. Yankees went on to win 4 championships in 5 years. I think Cashman needs to step up and make some good moves to make the roster better.
Everyone's calling the AL East AL Beast just because literally every team is so good. And the most surprising one, I feel like the Baltimore Orioles being on that list. But with the way the playoffs are set up now, it seems like everyone in the division could possibly make it. How exciting would that be? It's
really exciting. Look, you can have a situation in the East, to your point, that you can be 20 games over 500 and still not make the playoffs. Yeah. So it's good for baseball. The American League East historically has always been the beast of the East, as you say. And look, the Baltimore Orioles is no longer like a Cinderella story. I mean, they are good. They proved that last year. They're better this year. They have a fantastic front office and a fantastic farm system. So it's really exciting to see what they're going to watch. But the Yankees got to get going.
Fast forward to the end of the regular season. Who do you think sits atop the AL East?
I like to say the Yankees, and I hope that Cashman can make some good moves at the trading deadline to put the Yankees in a position to win a title.
Yeah. Staying in the AL, one of your other former teams, the Mariners, they got a really good guy with Julio Rodriguez.
As they like to call him, J-Rod, he's a force of nature. He's an incredible kid, has a lot of the same attributes that Aaron Judge has. Yeah. And look, I'm connected. He's got my same last name. We used to wear the same uniform in Seattle. And I think baseball is in such a great place with all the great young players. The rule changes, I'm really excited.
Staying out in the West, what is going on with the Padres? It seems like no matter what they do, they can't right the ship despite this massive payroll they got. So is this like too early for us to overreact? Like is Soto and Tatis just going to go off, or is it kind of trending downhill, you think, like it's in the season?
Well, what's that Yogi Berra saying? It's getting late early. Yeah. I think if you're a Padres, it's still early, but you got to get going, and you want to start building some momentum leading into the All-Star game, and then obviously after the All-Star game, you want to take off. But I think for them, they're getting healthy at the right time. It needs a little bit of time to build that chemistry, but they have so much talent that would never count the Padres out.
It seems like we've sort of seen this decline in pure hitters recently, and it seems like less and less that these guys are going to eclipse that 3,000 hit mark. Obviously, legend Miguel Cabrera just got added to that list, but do you feel like we've seen the end of these 3,000 hit players?
I hope not. I'm hopeful. I mean, we mentioned 2 players, Mackenzie, with Aaron Judge and Rodriguez out in Seattle. I think these guys they're great hitters that also happen to have phenomenal power. And I think that is still the best approach. I think that approach worked for Joe DiMaggio. I think it worked for, great hitters like Paul O'Neill, Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams. It did pretty well for those guys. I remember the Yankees won a championship one year. They didn't have anyone in the roster with 30 home runs. And that would be unthinkable today. But I do think that the teams that get back to playing fundamental baseball, small baseball, well-rounded baseball, the teams that are going to win big.
And you and Derek are still the only Yankees on that list, which is really remarkable considering the players that came through the organization. How do you still hold that record close to your heart, and do you and him still kind of have that bond since y'all are still the only Yankees on it?
Well, I think our biggest bond is over the 2009 World Championship, right? The team goals are always going to trump the individual goals, and Derek is the ultimate champion, 5-time world champion. He put winning on top of everything. I'm the same way. And I'm just so fortunate that I was a part of one championship team here in New York.
Yeah. Speaking of breaking records, Spencer Strider, he just recently broke the record for quickest to get to 100 strikeouts in a regular season. One, how is this guy so dominant? And then also, do you feel like he's already run away with the Cy Young?
Well, first of all, how is he so dominant? He has great stuff. I mean, he's got a power fastball, power slider. At times, he looks unhittable. But I'm a big believer is that Cy Youngs and MVPs are won after August, right? And I think he's off to obviously a tremendous start. He's the front runner, but many times the front runner in the first half of the season is not the front runner when it comes to the end.
That makes sense. I mentioned Jeter before, but the TNT crew had some fun with y'all at the Celtics Heat game, brought your face up with the 04 Red Sox. I know deep down you had to be a little happy that the Heat came out on top of that, because I know Boston fans were having a little too much fun.
Well, it depends, right? Like, that's one reason why people in Boston could like Derek and I. we need a lot of help there. But it was a phenomenal series. And, as an owner of the Timberwolves, I don't cheer for any other teams. But I'm glad that you have two great teams that are going to be representing in the NBA Finals in the Denver Nuggets, who, by the way, the architect of that team is our president now with the Timberwolves, Tim Conley.
Very cool. Speaking of shade, though, I have to ask about your former teammate, Doug Minkiewicz. He it seems like he took to the airways and kind of had these out of left field comments about you. Not diving into it, but how do you deal with that, or do you kind of chalk it up to just somebody with a microphone looking to make the news? Yeah,
Mackenzie, that was actually strange because I've always considered Doug a friend, and I was shocked and surprised. My daughter sent me the articles, my mom, my brother, all people that really liked Doug, and I was very close with his mom and dad. But look, at the end of the day, one thing I'll never do is speak poorly about any of my teammates, especially a high school teammate. So I wish them well.
Before I let you go, I do want to ask you about this fun journey you're taking in the basketball world. How exciting is it for you knowing you're getting closer and closer to being a majority owner?
We're really excited. I mean, the NBA family has been incredible to be a part of. Adam Silver is an incredible leader and commissioner. The sport is so rich. If you think about how global the game is, we have over 400 million people playing basketball in China today, over 300 in India.
That's crazy.
We launched Africa NBA with Barack Obama as our partner. And I have young daughters, and they love going to the basketball games. It's exciting, it's electric. You look at the playoffs this year, I've been to a bunch of games. I'm excited, and we've taken down 40% of the team, and by year's end, we will take the remaining.
What made you want to go on the journey with the Timberwolves?
I think I've always been a big fan of the NBA. You see the trends, you see what they're doing. It's exciting, it's young, it's dynamic. Again, great leadership, and we saw it also as a great business opportunity.
What are you taking from these NBA championship caliber teams like the Heat and the Nuggets that you kind of plan to take and apply to the Timberwolves?
Yeah, I think people ask me all the time is, why are you at Laker games and Golden State and the Miami Heat? I mean, in order to, build a championship team and culture, you have to go out and kind of learn the best practices from everyone. So I've been to a couple of games with Anthony Edwards. He wants to be there as a player. I want to be there as an owner. And we have big ambitions. And you have to be able to study and watch and learn and then apply it to what we want to do in Minnesota in the future.
Hey, sports fans, if you want to see more conversations with athletes and stars, check out these videos right here and be sure to subscribe for more from USA Today Sports.